What's up guys, Lisa He of Borderlands Bakery here, and today I'm sharing a recipe for this super simple bok choy fried rice. I grew up eating a variety of this at home. I actually went out recently and had a version of this in a restaurant in the Sacramento area. It's called Shanghai Delight. It was really good and it really brought me back to my childhood, so I figure I would share that with you as well. This is a super simple fried rice recipe and it comes together incredibly quickly, like 15 minutes or less. It's got very minimal ingredients of bok choy, panchetta, or some other meat of your choice. I like panchetta because I like the way the fat renders and it gives a lot of flavor to your rice. Traditionally, we use kind of like a preserved pork, salty pork, and it's pretty much serves the same purpose. You can also use Chinese sausage or any other sausage. You need some white rice. I use a medium grain rice that's either overnight, it's 1 day old. Like a lot of people say, how do you make fried rice? They like their fried rice to be 1 day old so it dries out a little bit. Or if you're cooking it fresh, just add enough water to cook the rice, but not more than that to make it mushy. So if your rice normally comes out a little bit mushy, reduce the amount of water. You also want to rinse your rice out 3 to 5 times with water before you cook it to remove some of that excess starch. And then you'll salt and pepper to taste. And that's it. Super, super simple. All right, so what we've got here is a pan. I've turned on the burner. It is going to be medium high. This is a ceramic wok. I love it. It's so easy to clean. Grab it from my Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. I'm taking a container of panchetta. This is a, how big is this? Let me see, 5-ounce container. When your wok is hot, throw it in. Just trying to get it open right now. And you want to hear that sizzle. Throw it all in there. Make sure again, medium high. Medium is okay. Let the fat render. Meanwhile, you guys can go chop your bok choy.
While your panchetta is cooking, prepare your bok choy. I'm cutting it into small pieces. I got some giant bok choy in my Imperfect Foods box. Check out the description box below for my coupon code, and I'm chopping it up into little bits with my Nakano knife that I absolutely love. We also have a 20% off coupon code for you below for Nakano knives.
So you guys can see how a lot of the fat from that panchetta has rendered. It's kind of pulled towards the bottom. If you don't want this much fat, you can use a paper towel, dab it, and kind of get rid of some of it. But if you want to use it, you don't need to add any additional oil or butter when you cook the rest of your rice, or you add your rice in here. This will help it cook and also add some flavor as well. I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of the oil and then add my rice in. I have fresh cooked rice here. You can use day-old rice if you want from the fridge. I didn't have any, so I cooked it fresh. I made sure to cook it a little firm, so a little bit, tiny bit less water than I normally would, so that the grains are a little bit more separated. And if you rinse your rice 3 to 5 times before you cook it, that will help remove some of the starch and help keep the grains a little more separate as well. Now add your rice into this. And it's gonna sizzle and pop. Mix it up right away so that you're not deep frying your rice. You want to make sure that your rice grains are pretty separated. I'm just breaking up the chunks right now. Make sure that it's all evenly coated in the fat from the pancetta. And this is where I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste, keeping in mind that the pancetta adds some salt, so you probably don't need much salt, if any. Make sure you taste as you go. Now that you've sauteed your rice, it's all evenly coated, you've added salt and pepper to taste, we're gonna add that bok choy. All at once. Again, we're still on medium-high heat here. It's going to sizzle and wilt, and we wanna get a tiny bit of char on the bok choy. We always wanna cook our fried rice at a pretty high temp, get a nice flavor on it. And if you need to add a little more salt after doing this, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of salt because I actually didn't add any during our first addition. Just a tiny bit. Keep sauteing it until your bok choy becomes a little bit, has a little bit of color, and it's wilted just a little bit. The stems are gonna remain a little crunchy. It'll be a nice contrast to the rest of the rice and other parts of the leaves. Now, if you feel like this isn't enough bok choy for you, go ahead and add a bit more. If you want to crack an egg into it, that's fine as well. We're not doing eggs today for the sake of this. I don't know if traditionally this has eggs in it, but we didn't make this specific kind of fried rice with eggs at home growing up. You can see the bok choy wilting. Now I'm just gonna let it sit for about 2 minutes before I come back and give it another stir. All right, so I've let this sit for about 2 minutes, and I just wanna show you something. You can start to crisp up the bottoms just a little bit. If you let it sit, it's a little hard to see, but it will start to form a crust eventually. Let me see if I could get a better, there we go. So right here, it has started to form a crust. These are crispy rice bits and so delicious. So if you want your rice to form a little bit of a crust at the bottom, go ahead and let it sit for a little longer. All right, so I'm gonna give it a final stir. Let it sit for a little bit and form a little bit of a crust, and that'll be it. It'll be ready to enjoy. All right, so I've let this sit for 2 more minutes and we're gonna check up on the bottoms, and look at that. It's forming this nice crust, and that part will be crispy. So just like that, we are done. Served by itself, and whoever's enjoying it can add hot sauce if they want to, but I just really enjoy eating it on its own.